as you know, I'm trained as a barrister. In fact, I was chatting to my table over dinner, and they said, what do you do? I said, I'm a barrister. They said, honest? I said, no, just the normal kind. It was a murder trial. It was at the Old Bailey, when one of the cheeky junior barristers in the case bet the senior QC that he couldn't get 20 chocolate confectionery sweet names into his plea in mitigation. And he took the bet. And he began his mitigation, and he began in this way. He said, Your Honour, let us not fudge the issue. He said, the topic under consideration is murder. From the Churchtown Parish magazine that reads as follows: would the congregation please note that the bowl at the back of the church labelled "for the sick" is for monetary donations only. My client has, by his own admission, murdered his wife on the night in question, just after 8. Will the person who took a slice of cake from the Commissioner's office return it immediately, as it's needed as evidence in a poisoning case? I shall ignore the snickers of the jury. He said, My Lord, although my client has this morning pleaded guilty to murdering both of his parents, in mitigation, you must bear in mind that he is now an orphan. He seems to me a man caught twixt the age-old temptations of money and marriage, the M&Ms, if you will. But let's build on this togetherness, this collegiate atmosphere in the room. What I'm going to ask each person in the room to do, I'm going to count to 3, and when I count to 3, I'd like you please to turn to the person sitting on your right and say to that person quite simply, I love you. But what reward did his crime bring him? What bounty? He is, Your Honour, a good man from a decent home in a quality street. I'd like everyone in the room this time to turn to the person sitting on their left. On this occasion, I'd like you to say to that person quite simply, I love you, and the person on my right means nothing to me. He became a drifter, a flake. But when it came to the crunch, he was only doing what many of us would have done, as your key witness said. The judge leaned over his bench and he said, Sir Edward, tell me, is your client familiar with the maxim, res ipsa loquitur? And without breaking sweat, Sir Edward Marshall Hall replied, My lord, on the remote hillside in County Donegal, from which my client hails, they talk of little else. I say to him, Mr. Gibb, Toby Gibb, Tobe, the only thing you've done wrong is to be human. If you think his life is worth more than a dime, Your Honour, a lenient sentence will indeed give him the boost that he needs.